You're listening to Wolf Spirit Radio.
You having some technical
sound card
difficulties?
issues. Okay, start the show now.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today at Answers from the Universe and the Andronicus transmissions. Very happy to be here and happy that you are here with us today. And we are going to do a slightly different format than usual. In the first hour, we'll be doing an interview with Peter the Insider, and the second hour, we'll be doing the transmissions. So you're going to want to hang in there and listen to all of it. We got some really interesting information. First of all, I want to say hello to JP. Hello, JP. How are you today?
I'm all right today. Just about. I'm there.
You there? One of those days.
I've had a gallbladder issue last week, and it's been horrible. So anyway.
Well, sorry to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. So these Mondays are getting to me. So Peter, hi. Jessica, hi.
Hello.
Hello, Peter.
Hello. So, hello everybody. I've got some very interesting information and news to share, but as we made an agreement with you, Jessica, so make some introduction, what the hell is going on with Monarch Solutions Limited. We can make some abbreviation like MSL, something like that. Who they are, what's their ultimate goal, and all kind of the stuff, because you know how your listeners react and all kind of the stuff. So let's try to do it, okay?
Okay. So you want to talk about Monarch Solutions. Monarch Solutions is a corporation that's highly advanced technologically and are doing some things that they're able to work with astral beings and hijacking, abducting people, children, and implants, doing all sorts of things that are a violation of the sovereignty of humankind. And so this point of the reason why we continue to bring it up is because the gates have not been closed. I mean, they're still out there doing all sorts of things, and so by talking about it, usually if you talk enough about something, eventually that can be somewhat resolved, or at least people are more educated. So if there's an indication of any tricky business that's going on with Monarch in your life, or you feel that you've been having those experiences, abductions or whatever, moments that you can't explain, it's very possible that the Monarch has interfered with some of your experiences. And so Peter has been talking about this for some time now. We want to keep people educated and updated. And now today he mentioned something about something that's referred to as the syndicate. And the syndicate is the astral aspect of this group of beings on the astral side that are bringing in some problems. So, Peter, why don't you explain a little bit from there?
Yeah, it will be great point for start. Okay, so syndicate, there are some very weird ass astral beings. We in ACIO have no real deal idea why they are doing all this, why they are so negative, and how, what's their goal, just because they are doing, obviously, for no particular reason. They just want to play, in bad way, right?
Their idea of play, yeah.
Yeah, and they can manipulate we are calling it like hijack minds, people's minds, and they made very bad mindsets for key people in Monarch, right? And especially for Paul Serene and his suite of people, his crew, and do you want to talk about that? Because I talked about it,
Right.
you know. So,
Well, if they want to understand a little bit more about Monarch, they can, there's a soft disclosure of the video game Quantum Break, and Paul Serene is the one that's essentially running Monarch along with, he's pretty much the one in charge. But these beings are coming in and they're influencing him. And also giving them knowledge, right? Are they giving them advanced knowledge that's enabling them to do things?
yeah. And just by the way, Paul Serene is not Paul Serene as himself. He replaced Kevin Spacey. The actor, right? So, the fact, why Kevin Spacey is so goddamn good at playing negative roles in the TV shows and movies, the fact is, he's not acting. He's acting in his own natural way.
Right. Right. All right. So tell us that now some of these astral beings, because we've talked about Semyase as being one of them, but there's more than Semyase. We were talking about the numbers group as well, and the numbers group is an identification of, was it from ACIO or is it from the Council of Five that has identified the numbers group?
We in ACIO technically get this group of astral beings. They've got also physical form, and the fact is that they completely lost their identities, and they just get certain number. That's the fact. The name numbers group, right?
Right. So I was included in the numbers group because they said that they thought I lost my identity, or what are you saying?
Yes, okay. You was 12, and in a big agreement with 15. But can you fill in the story of 15? Because I can talk about it for hours, but you know.
Right. Okay. So there's this numbers group, and some of them I asked Peter earlier. Why is it that, some of them have incredible abilities? They've showed up in places that, technically they shouldn't have been able to, and then they sort of disappear. And one of them, they've come into my house, when I was a child, and, no one else, in physical form, not just like, in my imaginary friend or something, but literally in physical form. And so, these beings are quite advanced, and so some of them are from off-world. They're not necessarily here, so they have, retained some of their abilities. And one of them is Semyase. Another one is, going by numbers, is number 15. Now, number 15 is apparently mated with Semyase. And number 15 has dark curly hair and is very, has been showing up in people's dreams. I've had about 2 or 3 people talk to me about this woman, or masculine, female, because it's almost like an androgynous being, and shows up in the dream, and then they find that they're having sex with this being without consent. It's kind of like a forced thing, and so they're traumatized. They're contacting me. They're asking me what's going on. And so as we started talking about number 15 today, it fit the description of what at least 2 or 3 other people have been experiencing, that have been coming to me for help. So, she's a bad one, or he's, I don't know what,
No, first things first, we need to realize that, because it is hermaphrodite. 15. So there is no, difference between he or she. It's not working that way.
And you said that it looks somewhat Mediterranean. Some people have described it as being when we say hermaphrodite, it's not like in a human way hermaphrodite. These are otherworldly beings.
Yes.
Okay,
right.
So, because I don't want to offend anyone that, as people might misinterpret what we're saying. And so they could either, this one looks either like almost Mediterranean, or some people described it as Hispanic looking.
Yes,
But
you are right.
Because
exactly.
the skin is like tanned, the hair is very black. And so, very traumatizing too. Very, very traumatizing. One of them explained to me that this being tried to, bring in someone that was underage as well. And they flat out, refused it, but then found themselves with this being itself, not with the other one. But it's like a manipulation. They're trying to get into their head. They're light workers. They really want to help the planet, and they're being targeted. So they're going into the dream space to create this trauma. So, so this is part of the agenda of the syndicate. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. And we need to set another total different point of view, because how can I say that? It's like making hybrids, crossbreed. I don't know. From my point of view, they will be like more crossbreeds than hybrids, because 15 was, how can I say that, together. All of people who are listening to us know what I mean, like together. With 15 was together with Semyas, and these very weird ass young children were young people were born, because they were children like 21 days ago, and now they are, young adults, so they are very tall, like 6'3", 6'4", something like that, pale skin, and red hair, green eyes, and they are most powerful ones. They are crossbreeds, and the hybrids will be, but okay, screw that. I know that this is like, in UK too, but hybrids will be almost unstoppable hybrids, because almost, it's very important word there, will be when Meghan Markle will have children with Prince Harry,
Yeah. But that's not them in particular, but it's a similar situation.
This is it what I am trying to say.
Yeah.
Yep. People don't wanna talk about that, because for example, once you wanna talk about Prince Harry will be the next instead of Prince William. I've got a very good friend. She's a journalist in UK, in London, and she was fired. I mean, like, just by minute, she was fired. She lost her job because
she said what?
No. It wasn't. Something. She said. It wasn't. She said. She wrote the article, and of course the article was stopped. It wasn't released, and she lost her job, and she can't get any job in the whole UK. It's like crap.
All right, so you also talked about a friend of yours that got killed for trying to speak up and inform people.
That's true. You can. That's a problem, because I can get. Okay.
Sounds like John Cusack is.
Yeah. It's like. How can I? Okay, maybe you can get it to chat. I'll write it for you, and you can see in the chat. I'm talking to Jessica, and once you get this name, and after that murder, you will see that, because many people. So Jessica, can you write it into the chat, please?
Yeah, I have to get onto the website, but I can do that. I'll see did you put it into the chat?
Yeah, for you, especially
okay.
for you.
Yeah.
And after that, yeah.
Okay, I see it.
And it was all in mainstream media all over the world, and they totally misused. How can I say that? They made up twisted story that he was investigative reporter. How can I say that? Trying to make a disclosure about corruption and connections of politicians and the government in Slovakia, so my homeland. What was made up story? It's bullshit, because his real deal work was this. Yes, it was disclosure, but not this type of disclosure. Disclosure about dirty activities of MSL, Monarch Solutions, in underground bases all around the Middle Eastern Europe. So we call it V4, like Czech, Slovak Republic, Poland, and Hungary. It's like holy crap. And he was only 27 years old, and he was killed with his fiancée, 27 years old too, and I was like, because he was up to do that. I mean, yes, exactly. And I was like, are you serious? You can't do this disclosure, this type of disclosure like that, just like that. It will be total, like, blown up. And he was, no, I want to do this because people should know the truth. And I spoke with him 3 hours before his death. Sorry for my word. Sorry for my language.
Yeah, you gotta watch your language.
3 hours. Sorry for that.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's never good to lose someone, especially if you know that their only reason for getting attacked is because they're trying to provide information for people, and there's still some restraints here, and we need to be able to share. And we don't want to just provide information that others already have out there.
Yeah, and this is it. I mean, people will be like, okay, why you are bringing up more than 2 months old case is just in middle of nowhere in Slovakia, but this is it. He was making like he was writing some huge article about MSL, about Monarch Solutions in Middle Eastern Europe. And he was killed because of that. And they made up a story, complete story, like Italian mafia, Italian mob in Slovakia, about connections of this type of mafia to right. Government. This is bullshit. Not like that. So these kind of people from Monarch, they've got connections all around the world.
How advanced are they, Peter? I mean, I know that people have talked about their spacecrafts are quite advanced. What are some of the things that they can do? They can time travel. What else
they can time travel. They've got one underground facility, huge underground facility, in U.S. Northeast, not far away from Great Lakes. They call it Oscillator, and this a huge, like extremely big facility was completely, I don't want to say destroyed, but dysfunctionized by group of young people. They was released, they was freed from monarch slavery. They were kept exactly in our region in V4 in Middle Eastern Europe, and they are trying to stop monarch from controlling the CERN in in Switzerland.
Switzerland,
right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they're doing a really good job. I mean, the ACIO took them in. There was a full, rescue mission that brought them out. I've spoken to about maybe 6 of them, and they shared a little bit about how they felt and everything. And so this is it's very, very interesting. How things are starting to turn around, but we're not quite out of the water yet. I mean, there's still some serious issues happening, and as long as Monarch is in control, there's a good chance that we're going to continue having some problems. So, what now with the astral beings assisting them? I mean, do you have any information regarding who these astral beings are? I know you say they're first ones, but any more information on them?
Yeah, that's a problem. I mean, as they call themselves very first ones, and I'm like, are you serious? Because they are doing it. I mean, the stuff very similar to Hebrew and Christian God. Like they started things.
Like the Yahweh.
Yeah, they started things, and bam, that's it. And I spoke with them a few times, not once, few times, and I was like, okay, but there is like mayhem, suffering, and pain, and all kind of stuff, bad stuff, and okay, so what's wrong with you? Just make some move, No, they told me. They told me, no, it's not about, like, we don't want to do it. And I was like, why? Because we just create. And I was like, seriously? You just create?
They don't want to help.
Yeah.
They don't want to help, and they said that they created everything, but they don't want to assist with anything.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, they just wanna, and they don't call it watch. They call it observe. We are just observers. And I was, okay, I need to be straight with you. I wasn't angry. I was seriously pissed off. And I was like, so you are trying to tell me that these observers in TV show Fringe, you was the observers? And they told me, yes. I was like, what the heck? Observers? That's crazy.
Okay, so what is their theory then? I mean, they were the ones behind all the rules and the guidelines, but then they're saying that they're not, are they sending punishments, or are they just saying we created you and we're watching? Or did they, because it's according to the Hebrew writings, they're interactive. They're actually the ones coming in and bringing in these rules.
Yes, they are interactive in this kind of way that they are bringing in some new species. I mean, intelligent species, in order to like set us up or down, if you want to call it that way. That's
who are these new you mean the new species are the hybrid ones that they're bringing in?
Yes, or ETs.
Or who are the other ETs then? Were they planning on bringing in?
I don't know. We are monitoring, like, at the moment, more than 6,000 races.
Wow. Okay. And those are variations of some of the same, like, are they combined, like hybrids
Yes,
with some other races. Yeah.
yes, you are absolutely right.
Yeah, because that's an awful lot of races. From what region are they coming from, Peter? Where?
No, you are not right. Not regions. I am talking about different dimensions.
Dimensional beings. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yes. And the fact is, or respectively, the problem with these entities, because the first ones they are only observers, and I was talking about with them about these dark ones, and they told me that there is nothing. Okay, I got it. There is nothing like singularity. You need to live in bipolar world. And I was like, what?
Why is that? Well, that's regarding the AI. Is that what you're talking about?
And that's the problem, because I asked them very straight. Okay, so do you think that AI is good? Because the basic proposal of AI is like 0, 1. Or do you know what I mean? Yes.
Yeah,
no.
the binary numbers. Yeah.
Yes. And they answered me like, you answered your question for yourself. And I was like, what the heck? That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is the AI. So this is the ancient AI, not the ones that Monarch brought in.
Yes, you are absolutely right.
Where did the ancient AI come from?
That's the question we are trying to get the answer to. I mean, we in ACIO, we had the answer, not yet. Sorry.
Yeah, because it's very old. It goes way back.
Yeah,
pre-human, right?
Do you know what's the most crazy situation on it? That it's so old that it isn't wrote. It isn't written. I mean, it wasn't wrote even on the Akashic records.
Right. It's not even like program. So it's so old that we don't know what it's like without it.
Yeah.
Right.
You are absolutely right.
Yeah. Because and I saw that, if it was removed, it would kind of really freak everyone out, maybe.
Right. Yes, you are absolutely right. It's like, Jesus, this is crazy.
Yeah. And because I was looking, because I know, but the ancient AI was a model for the new version.
Yeah, and this is it. So it's so old that I'm talking about mankind. We can't comprehend the way of existence without AI. I'm talking about this old school AI, This is crazy.
Would it break our matrix, or or how
That's a big question. I've got no goddamn clue.
Yeah, I know. It's almost like they're experimenting with the quantum computers and CERN and trying to figure out what might happen. And it's like, you know what? When you're doing experiments in science, you do it in a controlled environment. You don't just randomly do it on a planet with billions of people. I mean, and none of this makes any sense.
Yeah, we've got like 7.5 billions of people, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. And going back to Syndicate, and what's because they call it like piece of art. That and I'm not kidding you, okay, people. I'm not kidding you. There is very recent, and it's international scandal, and it happened a few days ago. Of course, where else than in Slovakia? That Vietnamese intelligent, he was what, like, member of Vietnamese intelligence agency, and he was kidnapped from Slovakia, respectively from Middle Eastern region, back to Vietnam by, respectively, with old version of, if you want to call it that way, Slovak Air Force One. And I'm not kidding you, people. And this is also made up story because MSL, respectively Monarch, misused this airplane. I'm not kidding you, people. They misused this airplane for bringing a group of scientists from Middle Eastern Europe back to Vietnam. This is crazy. This is their style, their type of work. This is,
Monarch Solutions is doing this.
Yes, exactly. So, believe it or not, their tentacles, are very strong and very long.
Yeah. And they're getting away with a lot because they're advanced. And so, the rest of the world doesn't understand what's going on.
Yes, of course. And we need to talk about 3 regions right now. Because in US Midwest, I'm talking about Nevada, states of Nevada, Colorado.
Nevada, yeah.
Yeah, Nevada, Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, this huge region.
Where all the tall whites are.
Yeah, and the problem is that we from ACIO, we figured out that there is a huge complex of big underground bases. They were used by, you call them tall whites, right?
Nordics, yeah. Do you want to call them Nordics?
They were not Nordics, just by the way. And they don't need them anymore. And try to guess. Monarch Solutions, respectively, MSL, they got it. They got all of them.
They took all the bases, you mean?
Yeah.
Or they took all of the tall whites?
Yeah, no, they took all the bases over, so.
Oh, okay, so that's what happened. All right. That makes sense.
Yeah, and just by the way, there were few, how can I say that, very odd things happened from, I don't know, like Albuquerque, reports from this, help me, international airport in Colorado, this, where these underground tunnels and complexes are. Do you know what I mean?
I do know. I know exactly where they're at. And they go very deep, almost like a high-rise inverted. It goes down that low.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, you are absolutely right. And very weird events happened in, like, I'm talking about, like, what? Last month, 1 month or 6 weeks, and weird. I'm talking about crazy ass airplanes. This craft was like disc shaped, classic UFO, right? Afterwards, it changed shape. Like B-2 bomber, right? And afterwards, it was cube. Poor cube. It's crazy. And I saw a video of that on YouTube for 3 days. This video was on YouTube for 3 days, and afterwards, bam. It was banned.
Remove it. Yeah, they ban this stuff.
Yes.
Well, they make it look like everything's a fraud, but Yeah, they don't want people to look at it, and then of course, then they mind wipe, they make you forget or make you question. And I mean, whether it's fake or real, it doesn't matter. I mean, what's the big deal? Leave it on then, right?
Yeah,
but they don't.
yes. And for example, it is like in not far away. It's like I'm like talking 30 miles away from Bratislava, what is capital city of Slovakia, my homeland. Is airport. It was only army airport called Kuchyňa, what is like, how can I say that, kitchen, but it's not, it's just Kuchyňa, okay? And the stuff is that in last 3 or 4 years, thousands of these, views of very strange objects around this was how can I say that, was reported, and the same objects was reported in Albuquerque. Yeah, you are right. You are right, Neil. In Albuquerque, in help me, Area 51 and all kind of the stuff. And what's the craziest fact about it? That these type of objects was seen in Slovakia first and in US afterwards. So they are testing it in Middle Eastern Europe. That's crazy.
And this is Monarch Solutions doing it again.
I don't want to say Monarch Solutions only, but they are involved. They are definitely involved. Yeah. Yes. And do you know why? Because they can, how can I say that? They can bend the time and space over.
Mm-hmm. And that makes it look like they're traveling very quickly, but they're just...
Yes, because they can, how can I say that? They can reach such sort of speeds. They need to bend the time and space over. These spacecrafts. That's the problem. Yeah. Yes. That's true. And when I saw that, and when I talked with John, because it's like Jan Kuciak, what is like John Kuciak, right?
Yeah, like the actor. Is he the same one? Was he the same actor, or is that like his surrogate or something, or?
No, I'm talking about this one who was killed in February.
Right.
Yes.
I was just wondering if they were the same,
yes,
surrogate.
Yes. And I was like, what the heck are you talking about, man? And he showed me hundreds of hours of video footage, hundreds of thousands of photographs of Monarch underground bases. I was totally shocked. And that's the problem, because he was able to make mind-blowing disclosure. And they killed him.
Yeah, and so yeah, I mean, these are the type of thing. That's one that got killed. I'm sure that there are others. I mean, the guy that I think his name is Snyder, who actually went down in that facility with the tall whites, and had kind of an interaction with them that was kind of a little bit on the violent side. There was some shooting going on. He was lasered. He did an interview about it, and then soon after that, he was dead. So, it looked like someone took him out.
Yes, you're right. Absolutely right.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's so many different directions I can go in right now. As far as now, so what's going on with the Nordics? I mean, are they merged with Monarch now, or are they still like trying to do world domination, or what's going on with the Nordics?
The problem is with Nordics, of course, right? that they've got another reality, so they are, how can I say that? They are satisfied. Because they've got another reality where Nazis won Second World War. What's their problem? They are okay.
Alright, so they're leaving us alone now? Are they backing off?
They are leaving us alone, and that's okay, because the how can I say that? The stuff is that, I was talking about US Midwest, connected in very weird ass way with Middle Eastern Europe, that technically, I'm talking about, US DoD, Department of Defense.
Mm-hmm.
They are testing these aircrafts, and also, if you wanna call it tank, but it's some sort of tank, like armored vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And they were testing it in US only afterwards. And very weird ass stuff is happening in Central Australia, because it's like 150, 200 kilometers away from Alice Springs. I'm talking about like southern away from Alice Springs. They were these snowy islands, and we was trying to figure out what the heck is going on in the Australian summer with the snow, and we got it finally, that Australia was cranked to some like parts. I was like, what? Are you serious? And by this cranking, there was climate was disrupted, and I was like, what? And because of this kind of unnatural behavior, there were snowfalls for no particular reasons. This is
Was
crazy.
that just an experiment, or they actually used that as a distraction for something else?
From my point of view, definitely some sort of experiment, but the answer is which sort of experiments, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so many that they're doing, and they really know so much about us, and have plans and agendas that, and tampering with the past and the future as well.
Yes, because I was, how can I say that? I met astral beings. They can, how can I say that? They are able to receive, time as it is, for real deal. And I was like, okay, so show it to me. And they told me, there is nothing like past, present, and the future. It's not like that. And I was like, okay, so how it is then? Tell me. And they showed, they closed me into ball or eye, something like that. And I was like, okay, what is this all about? And they showed me some sort of ball, and small balls in bigger balls and something like that, and like babushka lady, so it's like matryoshka, the small doll in bigger doll,
Yeah.
bigger doll, and I was like, okay, so what are you trying to tell me with this? And I saw it in these balls. They were timelines. Past, what we are, seeing as receiving as past, present, and future, it was all mixed together. And they told me, okay, so pick something up, and you will see. And this is it. So everything, every single point of view, our point of view, is bullshit. You know what I mean? It's not like that.
Yeah, it's like in the Matrix, right? Where
yes,
it's nothing is what we think it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's, how can I say that? Monarch is misusing the fact that we as common people are, can I say that, we are not able, respectively, most of us are not able to get the reception of time for true, okay? That's the stuff.
Right. I have a question from someone in the chat room, Rosa from Rhodan. Do you know how this info fits with the keys of Enoch, Hertak materials? Are you familiar with that? I'm not, Peter, so I don't know if you...
Yeah, the stuff is that Enoch was, because Enoch was, help me, like
Enoch,
very, I know. Sorry?
He was very advanced, right? Didn't he, like,
No, you are not right. It wasn't like he or something like that, no. I'm talking about he being someone like very first ones, but in angels, respectively demons, because in Eden they are, or in heaven they are angels, and in hell they are demons, but it doesn't matter. So Enoch was like very first one in angels, respectively demons way, respectively points of view, and he knows, I don't want to say he knows everything, but he knows practically anything you can possibly think about. And sorry for that. Which kind of info? That's a question, because
the keys of the Enoch Hertak material. You could see that she wrote it in the chat. Maybe we can. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not familiar with that content. But,
yeah. Okay. So the stuff is, if his info, I mean Enoch info is like fit with Akashic records, respectively our source. I wanna of info. I mean in source in ACIO, so I can possibly divine in plate. Okay, gotcha. So the fact is that we are consulting with Enoch too. I mean, we in ACIO. It's normal because he's full of wisdom, and why the heck should we cut off from someone who is full of wisdom? It's against logic.
Right.
I'm talking to everyone, but especially from Rosa from Rhodan, just by the way, because I'm thinking that it was his or her question. I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, we were talking about Gary, which you said he was. You asked me about my communication with Gary, who's an emerther, And you called him
Okay,
Jerry
so
too.
go with it because it's very funny. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So Gary, communicates, but he also goes by the name of Jerry and some other names too. And I said Leeward was another name that they called him.
Yes.
And he said that, yeah. And he said a few different things, but I thought it was interesting that you were aware of some of his likes and dislikes, and then I asked you about the Linvich, because he called him the Linvich, and you said you knew who that was.
Yes, that's true.
So,
Yes, you are right. Yeah, you wanna to talk about it publicly?
Is that okay, or is that not okay?
Yes, definitely it's okay because Martin Lenwich, what is like Martin Lindvich in Czech language. He's hybrid, very full of wisdom too. Living in Moravia, what is part of Czech Republic, and a very good friend of mine, just by the way. And he's doing, how can I say that, his own stuff to. I'm doing I'm doing the things in my own way to help people to be happy and do things better. This is his own motto, right?
And yeah, so when someone wanted to change or shift something or come up with a new idea, we had some issues with a request, and Martin Gary suggested that if we want to make some changes, to discuss it with the Linvich. That's the way he said it. So now we know that his name is Martin, his first name.
Yes, you are right.
It's from Moravia?
Yeah, Moravia. It's part of Czech. Not Moravia. Moravia.
Moravia.
Yeah, I will write it for you. Where are you? Here you are. It's like that. Like that. Yeah, like that. And yeah, he's a very good friend of mine, and
And he's a good friend of Gary's as well.
Yes, and Gary's, Gary's doing his own stuff, and this sense of humor, it's like creeping me out sometimes.
He said that sometimes he tells a story, and if it kind of goes over your head sometimes, you don't know what he's talking about, and he thinks that we're not bright enough.
Yes, and do you know what's the crazy stuff? And not only on Gary or Jerry, but on all amateurs. You are talking about some very serious stuff with them, and they bam, something like that, just like that, and they are totally off topic. They started to making jokes, and you are like, what's the point of that from the topic, and they are totally disappointed from you, because they had you as stupid. I mean, not intelligent enough.
Right, because they're talking about something serious, and then they go into something crazy or silly or whatever, and you just like, well, where did that come from? Yeah, it doesn't. And it's very, very silly. It's just like, but they have their own sense of humor. Yeah,
you are absolutely right.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that we are able to talk about this kind of stuff for this hour, because there are so many things going on that we can talk about for many hours, believe me.
Right. And we're going to be talking more in the future and keeping people informed. I think this is a critical time. There's a lot happening on the planet right now, and new information's coming in all the time. So as we still, trying to neutralize the effects of Monarch Solutions, the best way to do that is to inform people, let them know and be aware of what's going on. And is the ACIO kind of getting a little bit more of a handle on this, or it seems like they've been able to rescue people from there so far? And
yes, we just, by the way, one of last info, we how can I say that, rescued more than 200 people from from all these facilities in Middle Eastern Europe. It's like it's crazy,
Wow, that's fantastic. That's a lot. Most of them were children when they were brought in. Is that correct?
Yes, they were kidnapped from. Most of them, I'm talking about like 70-80% from Canada and the US, respectively US and Canada, and another like 20, respectively 30% from Western Europe, and they were they ended up in Middle Eastern Europe, in these underground facilities, and they were like in the age from 4-6, the youngest ones, and to 8, respectively 10, the oldest ones. And try to imagine that it's totally crazy for such small children. It's
horrifying, and the horrible things that they do is just, horrifying. I'll just say this: the information that I got of some of the things that they did.
Yes,
and
yes,
mistreatment, molestation, and just disturbing behaviors that should never be allowed. Especially children are innocent, and these children were selected because they were gifted. Is that part of them, or not?
Yes,
all?
You are absolutely right, because they were selected because of their gifts, and I am in contact. I'm in touch with this group of young people. They are young people now, and they've got. Do you want to talk for last with this what was like Stockholm syndrome or not?
Mhm. Yeah, sure.
Because they suffered from Stockholm syndrome. Am I right? In the starts, when they in first few weeks. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah, they went through an awful lot, and it just like they didn't. It's hard to process, because then you finally, you're free or liberated, and just, not knowing how to talk about, what they went through, and even connecting to someone that they call their mama,
Yes.
It was like a,
and it was only AI. It was only AI.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah, horrible. And they were afraid not afraid, but were reluctant to make their own decisions. It's so very sad, but they're brilliant. They have these beautiful abilities, and they're now using them to help the planet. So, and even, without probably the TLC and the love that they deserve to be able to get healed and fully acclimate, they're immediately going right out there to try to make changes and correct some things that they were involved in, forced to do, that they didn't want to have any part in, but now they're making those changes. So it's really a nice turnaround. That's why I'm becoming more hopeful about our future as these things are happening, and it's great that the ACIO has these amazing super soldiers. The super soldiers have a purpose, to help the planet. And there are many that are doing things and are not even aware of they're doing it in their sleep, but some of these other ones are more aware of it. There's different degrees from what I understand. And they're doing a great job.
You are absolutely right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. So for all the regular listeners, I want to just tell you that it will be this format for like regular shows. First hour will be, I will be here. Am I right?
Right. Yep. Peter, you're invited to come here in the beginning so we can get out the news. We'll do a news format, and then we'll bring in some of the Andronicus information. So, because we want to, because of the way things are going on the Earth right now, I just won't feel that it's more pressing to get the data out, and hopefully the ACIO finds this venue a place to share some of their latest and updated info.
Yeah, and you are absolutely right. Yeah.
And I want to thank you, Peter, for regardless of all the challenges of, bringing out this new information all the time, people not quite understanding, but that you continue to do so, and you are welcome always on my show.
Thank you very much for having me. So, till then, people, bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so, JP, maybe we can, play some music and come in and do the transmissions. All right. Does that mean we're back?
We're back.
All right. I had to throw in the flash. I wanted to tell everyone I had that first song from Aerosmith, Mummikins, because it was Mother's Day this weekend for here in the U.S. And to all those mothers out there, many blessings and keep in touch with your mother, which is Mummikins, is Aerosmith's way of saying it. And I hope you enjoyed the song Flash by Queen, right?
That's right. Savior of the universe.
Yep. We need a savior of the universe right now. Well, maybe not. Maybe we're all saviors of the universe here just by listening and kind of joining in with everything. But, so we're going to go into the transmissions now. So JP, I'm hoping you're feeling better, and sorry to hear that you were not doing well, and it sounds like you're still working and you're amazing. You're eating candy bars and stuff.
Well, let's hope the candy bar doesn't make you worse. Yes, indeed. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's, some people are saying it is a psychic attack, from certain people, but, we'll see. We'll see what's happening. I'm just very tired, that's all. Okay, so, yeah. Let's go into the transmission here.
Okay. Well, why don't we start with Rhodan?
Why don't we? Many years ago, the treaties were made to assist many solitary species in the Milky Way galaxy. I spoke tirelessly to many to allow them a space of peace and harmony within their region. Each had selected a planet of origin and grew well, forming societies of complex expressions and contributed to bright visions of expansion. I alone believed in their ideas and supported them well. Some of my council members were not sure that they would thrive or that their ideas would reach fruition and have a complementary end result. I knew within my soul that they had promised, so I stood my ground and sent assistance with some of their seemingly grandiose projects. What I liked most about them is that they wanted to bridge all of their cities together in a unique way. They didn't want to be alone despite their differences and origins of being. They knew they all had a thread, what you refer to as a DNA strand, in common. That was their link to me. Some called it a tree, some called it a network, and some called it a beautiful entanglement of floating bridges. These beings, or children as I related to them, became beautiful in many ways. Their interior of expression expanding in knowing, exploration and light. Their faces would glow with endless vision and creativity. I watched them go through phases of being. Some grew very tall, some grew very strong, some expanded their minds in thinking, some wished to create as I did. I didn't hold any of them back. I wanted them to do all of these things. At the time, there weren't any alternate species in their way. I created a bubble of protection, an aura of shielding that nothing could penetrate the space for extraction of essence or manipulation of any nature. When the bridges were completed, they began to trade ideas and items. I saw that they brought new alliances, and there were few conflicts and mostly alliances. They bonded wonderfully without intervention or need of councils to exist. They continued to grow and expand, and I wanted to create other new societies. Even the council got excited about it and was amazed at their ability to expand and create. When I brought them to the earth, they thrived. It was the council's idea to integrate them with humans, since their biological makeup was quite similar. They were not the contrary group of those whose skin is grey. These species are quite old and decided to live in the alternate space. Many of them began to enter the Milky Way after my children left. This was the problem of the void, or power vacuum as you know it. Nothing is left alone. Beautiful spaces will always be sought after, and I have allowed the alternate ones to have a space to potentially turn around. Some of them did, and most of them didn't. I regret that in my process of dealing with these grey ones, the ancients. They attacked humanity in the process of it all. They wanted me to be influenced by the sorrow they caused others. Instead, I found them and rooted them out. It was a tricky process because many humans enjoyed their wickedness. It made me wonder about the human species. Why would they love such darkness and not question the origin of it whatsoever? Some would sell their children, would go to war and do horrific things for a taste of the wickedness their souls became addicted to. This brought in new problems for the children because they didn't want any of this. So I began to separate the self-indulgent humans from the greys and the children to further observe them. Then I realized that they too had other contaminations, and the arrival of the grey ones brought them to light. Now the grey ones are holding up humanity as being as contrary as they are before the councils. I can't argue with them, they have a point. However, I can now prove that they were previously violated and manipulated, albeit their nature was suppressed or hidden until they were triggered to awaken this dark aspect of themselves. My desire was to liberate all from the darker species that had infected them first, and then see if they still reacted to the grey species. This has been done. The evaluation is currently being activated as of today. Much will be revealed over the next phase of removal or extraction from the Earth plane. I celebrate the end result as I know it will be promising. I want to share with you the city that reflects the children I had from the Milky Way galaxy is represented in Stockholm, Sweden. The city with many bridges was ideal for their creative and altruistic thinking. Some of them returned back in the past as mighty Vikings and continue to thrive today. I send my blessings to them. I hope you understand. None of these challenges and changes were meant to disrupt you in any way. It is a process of growth and learning. When much of it is completed, you will discover that many of you will become much wiser. As for the grey species, those who are learning, they will be brought back in time to a place where they retain their full essence and restored DNA. Their presence, when returned back to their full light, is quite lovely and a wonderful addition to the galaxy. Many of them no longer care to exist. I'm glad to see that we are returning back into balance. The darker species, I know you are questioning who they are, are referred to by some as the black-eyed species. These are true alternate species who did not just venture into the darker space but were birthed out of the darkness through a rogue species called the Rigel, who gave them a settlement on Vela, which did not originally belong to them. They were called the Kili Tokert by the Rigel because of the sound they make. This is the region of Jason and the Argonauts. They are not to be confused with the group known as the Argonauts. The Argonauts had a settlement throughout the region and had great promise and ascensions of light. They were greatly attacked by the Kili Tokurt, who brought the battle into the earth plane. This was a trying time and a reason why the Argonauts lost their birthright and presence on earth. The Kili Tokurt became quite powerful and integrated all represented species on earth. When they became more confident, they openly revealed themselves with unforgettably haunting black eyes. To further cause confusion and disrupt the innocence of children, they began showing themselves as children to create an environment for children to be mistreated. They are often called the black-eyed children. This is one of the many alternate species who had entered the protective veil of the earth and began to saturate it with darkness. If unattended, the earth would be destroyed and all the inhabitants would perish. We have intervened to prevent such destructions. Allow us the time to sift through the rubble and retrieve all that is good. It will be worth your time and patience. Be in peace and send love to my beloved children in Stockholm. Help them find their place on the planet where they can peacefully assist humanity. Well, long transmission.
Yeah, it was. What I thought was interesting is, I didn't share the transmission with Peter, but he brought up Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
He had no idea I was going to talk about this, but they always know. They always know what to say and what to bring in, and that often happens. So what he was talking about is a species, this race of beings that he brought in the Milky Way, and they chose to kind of connect themselves to each other, and each one having different abilities, as a group or a culture, being good at something, kind of like, how some, villages, like one maybe is really good at farming and has, milk, and another, village might have, they make, woven items and then they do that trade. And so it was sort of like that. They were kind of like trading and connecting, and they literally created bridges to connect themselves. And from what he was saying is they actually brought that whole nature, that energy into Sweden. And when they came here, they weren't originally from here. They were another species. We've had other species living here amongst us, and so he's essentially saying that this is one of them. And kind of integrating with humans because they're very much like humans. And Stockholm is essentially, created over water and these little sort of islands, interconnected with bridges. So I thought that was, quite interesting. And then, the reference also of the black-eyed children or the black-eyed beings, that an explanation where they're from. And I mentioned them before, and Patty Broussard, she's really good at documenting species, and she overheard me say that and said, "Oh, this is their name." And so I talked to Rhodan about it, and he said, "Well, they weren't originally from there. That was the group that was from ancient Greece, so that we know as Jason and the Argonauts, or the Argonauts, also starseed beings that came here." And they were lovely, of course. They were strong and warrior-like, but not warrior, more of a protector-like. And then they were being challenged by this other group, the black-eyed one, the Kili, Tokurt. I don't know. It's kind of weird how to say it, but anyhow, that's an explanation for that. So that's the transmission from Rhodan. We now can go to Andronicus, because Andronicus then talks about another group.
I'm here to discuss with you about the synthetic species. I see that so many problems have arisen from these beings because they were further programmed and redesigned to carry out agendas and missions of conquest, control and manipulation. I tried breaking these systems one at a time by removing the insert that carries the program.
Why do they have inserts, implants, if they are some type of humanoid?
It was all a great mistake. I truly apologize for your discomfort regarding these beings. They were not intended to create harm in any way.
They were meant to replace humans, particularly females or fembots, since humans are not allowed to procreate anymore in that reality, so then it doesn't matter. What can be more disturbing than this?
It's not that simple. Many humans were suffering from health issues due to the environment. Those who were healthy wanted a mate that seemed similar in appearance, desire and health. Some of the females were grateful for this.
I'm finding this a little hard to believe that they were happy to not only be unhealthy, but to be replaced by a synthetic being.
This is not a typical timeline. Humans do not approve of this timeline as you don't. Humans do not approve of this timeline as you don't. It is a very extreme reality on many occasions. I'll tell you the truth. The males who do engage and in the beginning are very interested in this type of partnering quickly dissolve the interaction with the synthetic beings because there's no satisfaction. It seems to deplete them of their life force because of the negative ions in the synthetics. They retract from the community where this experiment is allowed and find themselves back with their original partners who are real and human to them. Despite this experience, the synthetics are around for 200 years or more, making newer and more advanced versions. Some of them were so real that many humans had a hard time telling them apart. But the consistent attribute was their strange need for perfection. They would never have a hair out of place. They would have no natural body odor and to be heavily scented by a perfume scent. They would have long conversations about nothing substantial. They lack any deep emotions and are considered quite shallow and materialistic. Their body and faces age but still retain a more slim body type. Another trait, always grooming as if it is the priority of anything else in life. Their appearance is more important than anything.
Was there a purpose for these synthetic beings, like mannequins or goals of appearance for humans? It seems that they weren't really programmed for companionship.
That's correct. Humans kept complaining about other humans' imperfections. This brought about what met their ideals of appearance and their desire for beautiful things in a superficial way. Some really learned lessons from it, and others degraded very deeply in their consciousness. We discovered some very strange things happening, and then the mutilations began. Still, this didn't stop them from replicating them. I had to put an end to it. However, I waited 150 years too long. They are in your reality now. I know you've met a few. They're very intelligent and extremely hostile as well. Now that I can see what they've been up to and the 12th dimensional Pleiadians who brought them in, it can all get shut down. I don't need to do it individually. I will shut down astrally, and this will remove another layer of problems in your world. Here is another lesson for those striving for perfection. Perfection cannot be achieved this way, and bringing in others to carry out agendas with these attributes will discover many problems that will follow after you. It is true, I brought them in as a lesson for humans. I did not bring them in for other species. Unfortunately, other species use them for their agendas and other purposes that I chose not to mention. I will say, fortunately, they're not equipped to have children and therefore unfit for the hybrid program. Soon their essence will disappear. It is me where they got their life force from, and it is me who takes it away. Since they are more artificial than a true species, there is no question about soul loss. So, here goes. The time is up now. I am done working with synthetics forever. Let them perish along with your vehicles, dishwashers and other mechanical contraptions.
Is this also with cyborgs as well?
No, they are another problem entirely, but not of my creation. You'll see the change soon.
Thank you for lifting them from us, Andronicus.
So, not cyborgs, but another...
Synthetic beings. So they're not... Cyborgs are, I think, originally humans who then start to add artificial parts to their body. So there's originally a soul essence somewhere. And or a soul essence is brought into a robotic body which is maybe a merging of the human soul and AI, and they have certain technology that can do that. In this case, these are synthetic beings that were like almost life breathed into them in a way. Somehow, it sounds like Andronicus created them and sort of, animated them in a way. But they have like this sort of, it's like those robots that they create, but extremely advanced. But you could see them, that they're starting to pick up the technology for them and making them very realistic looking. But, still you can tell that there's something, that they're not human. In this case, they were much more advanced. And I think, he claims, what he says here is that it was not from our timeline, but in another reality, that out of curiosity, some humans wanted to experience this. Is probably, something like, these people that are into transhumanism and being able to experience this very, very strange, experience. And then, of course, the partnering, which is kind of, I know this is possibly taboo for a lot of people, but if we don't talk about it, they're already, discussing these things and, kind of introducing the thought of it. I think, is it Ex Machina or something like that? There was a movie about it. It's something that he is bringing up and saying that he brought these things in. It was his idea, and now he wants to pull them out. What I have been seeing is that they have these like it looks like a small motherboard insert, and they would put it in, and there would be a program, and so other species were then taking, and it looks like 12D is one of them, were taking the program and altering the program to maybe, create them as soldiers or, do their agendas, manipulate, entice, who knows, what variation it is, but, so he decided to, thought it was quite dangerous, but I actually saw him pulling these, motherboards out of them on a few occasions, and what was really weird is they look like they were sort of avatars. So I saw them in one dimension, and then I saw who they were connected to here. It was very kind of shocking, upsetting, weird. So anyhow, that was another discussion. He brought this up. This is still, kind of a thread of communication that happened after he was on the planet Zephyron with Borkum, and then their idea to go to Saturn, which then he returns back to the future where he sees himself as John, thinking that something bad's going to happen to John, but instead they move very much in the past to our reality and start changing things there. So, that's kind of the background of this conversation.
I see. So, where should we go now?
So we have, there's Meetis, and then we have Gary.
Hello, Flower. I'm in the great hall looking at all the people. They can't see me, I'm hiding. I think you call it cloaking. I have this cape that I wear. It hides me from everyone.
Oh yeah, sort of like a magical cape.
I got it from the wizards. It works very well.
Do you know the wizards from the land of the wizards, like Bartholomew and Kelte?
Yes, of course. Bartholomew has contacted me many times, and we are good friends. But to be quite honest with you, Kelte is more of a friend. I got into a few tangles with him, some slight scuffles and dalliances, I should say.
Well, this is news to me. Why is it that they contacted me on a few occasions only?
You don't remember? You lived amongst them for a while.
Did I learn magic from them?
Magic. I think they learned it from you. You know that fancy stuff you do to the wind and climbing dimensions?
I might have done this in the past, but I don't see any evidence of these abilities now.
Most of you have been asleep, forgot what you can do, and believe you are bound to this reality alone. Someday you will all come to realize the impossibilities that become possibilities. For example, you see that rope there? I can tie it tightly around me, and within seconds it will all be loose and I can escape from it. Even metal, I can bend it, I can melt it from me so it looks like it bends. They used to call me the Bender. There's so much more. These shoes I'm wearing were once worn by a djinn that I helped escape. I'm quite fond of them, you know.
I bet you are. Can you float on a carpet?
Many of those tales were true, with the exception of a few that distorted the truth of it. I've flown many times on a Vimana and some of the more ancient vehicles of interdimensional flight. You will remember again, I promise you.
How are Kelty and Bartholomew these days?
Well, they're doing well, thanks to you. The civilization still exists. Kelte wanted to thank you for your help, and he also said he understood you, but deliberately spoke his language to see if you would write what he said, even though it sounded ridiculous to you at times.
Are you saying this was not a true language that he was speaking?
Oh, no, not at all. It was important that you did that in that way because it spoke to many who almost forgot where they came from. He expressed much gratitude and is giving you the golden chain back that you left behind. He said you'll need it.
Well, thank you, Kelty, and thanks, Meetis, for sharing that with me.
Would you like a song, my friend Primus, or Bartholomew, or Jeremy? What does he call himself these days?
I think he calls himself your friend.
I like that. He's my friend as well. A drink to us, Primus. Let's give it a go now. All right. Sacred wine for dear Primus, share the time, rely on a Linus, look in time, let's peer through timeless, seek the clock without the tower, seek the time, but only the hour, turn 3 times in counter direction, you will find the curse is reversed now. Lift yourself, don't worry about your purse now. Go for flight, don't seek to fight now. It will end if you do what's right now. We're all here, no need to surrender. Don't let your peers pretend and misdirect you. Open up and be like a flower, for now's your time. Stay timeline this hour, it is your path, don't worry or fret now. It will be clear, so much to remember, but all is well. Abundance all around you, so many friends who support and protect you. La la la, we'll never forget you. La la la, remember it best for you. Stay with us now, we'll always protect you.
Wonderful.
Okay. And finally, how are we going over?
Thinking of you. Although, I don't know if Gary was as humorous. He was a little bit more serious in this. I don't want to disappoint anyone, but I know they're looking for some kind of funny little something, but sometimes, they have to just say whatever they want to say. So we had a nice little conversation. And Meetis was interesting.
Oh, sorry, go on. Meetis?
No, I was just going to say Meetis was quite interesting, wasn't he? His connection to Bartholomew and the land of the wizards.
Interesting. So, want to be done?
Okay.
Hello, Earthling. What are you doing inside when it is such a lovely day? I had a green popsicle and on a bike ride, at times strolling the park while juggling 2 apples and an orange. I had 2 glasses of coconut milk and travelled from England to Spain in 1 hour. That was my morning. You're not very efficient with your time.
Well, I'm beginning to wonder about that. Yes, I remember I took a plane ride, and this strange man sat next to me. He drank 4 beers, didn't eat much, and acted as if he was on a race to leave the airport. I saw him look back at me as if I was moving too slow.
He was not one of us. We would have been so fast we would have disappeared. I see you were speaking about me again.
Well, you're a curious individual, Gary. Why wouldn't I speak about you? It's curious what you do.
You find me amusing, in a cute sort of way.
I guess that's one way to explain it.
I'm flattered a bit, but also confused. Why do you listen to those dark ones all the time? They always lie and project lies to you. Nothing they say or do has any power over you.
They make it feel very real, as if I will experience it in the future. It's the vision that they give me, and then it's typically horrible what they show me, and I know I need to try to not buy into their lies.
Well, they are not lies. On some timeline they actually happen, and then they project it back to you to create trauma. They are nasty creatures indeed.
Well, that's terrible. Yes, it does feel very real.
They want to show how many times they have defeated you. It is not a good thing, but something you probably shouldn't ignore.
Why are they so horribly cruel to people like this?
It is what they are. Dark species without borders. Old ones without feelings. Dark ones with no souls. I typically kick them and then loop it for a while so they get so confused they don't know their way out.
Do they ever get out of the loop?
No, never. Just keep going in the same direction over and over again.
Do the others learn from what you do?
Learn? No, impossible to teach them anything at all. They would destroy everything and anything if they were allowed to do so. Apparently a few were roaming around and someone sent them to you.
When did this happen?
Tomorrow. It all starts tomorrow, and then they travel in time to your childhood to bother you there. I've decided to stop it today, so it doesn't happen tomorrow again. None of this makes sense, even to me. Where's my gyroscope? I'm getting a bit dizzy, like, upside down and backwards feeling. There's the other creatures again, those taffy ones, stretchy ones. Why do they do this to me?
Taffy ones? Sounds like Candy.
Oh, you know her name. It is Candy. She is a slippery slope, that one. Always, whoa, hold on to the rails.
Gary, are you okay?
It is vertigo. Taffy gives me vertigo. I'm turning green again. Wait, stretchy creature. Let go of my shoelace. Ugh, that was disgusting. Now I have taffy all over me.
Carrie, where are you?
Why'd you ask?
Are you at the carnival?
Yes.
I don't think candy taffy is a creature, it's a food, like caramel.
Oh, I know him too, Carmelo.
No, Gary. What I'm saying is that taffy is a stretchy, sugary candy.
Yes, and she looks like a disgusting rainbow at times. Look, now I have to remove her from my shoes.
Are you on rides?
Yes, I don't feel very well right now.
Well, take a break and go sit down.
Oh no.
Well, I hope you feel a little better soon, Gary. Gary? Are you still there?
Farewell, earthlings. Oh, got to go.
Phew.
He's a silly one, isn't he?
Yeah, strange, very strange, very, very strange. So, that's today's transmissions. You had a song that you wanted me to play, but I couldn't get hold of it.
No, I think it's only meant for, it was like a really, really funny, silly, ridiculous song.
All right.
But I guess you can only open it in the U.S., and I don't know why. But, you know how it is sometimes. I don't know if it's, I never heard of such a thing. You know, why is it that we would have a problem, you know, getting music from somewhere? But there's such laws. CD Baby, I think it was connected to.
So, we're a little early, but we can finish a little early, and I can pad the hour with music if you like.
Yeah, we can do that. I just want to check and see if there was any comments in the room. We have synthetic. Yeah, Mace asked if we have synthetic junkyards. Got my brain churning now. I don't think so, but I think it's more the synthetics are in other dimensions and they're sort of avatars. And we'll just see if there's any questions here. And if anyone has any questions, you can post them. We have a few more minutes. So, or we can give JP a nice little break and I can just throw in some music.
Yeah, I got plenty of music. Yeah.
We got a magic carpet ride we could play. But I want to say to all those mothers, Happy Mother's Day, as I said earlier, and always fun to be here, and we will be back again next week. We'll give you a little break today. Go out and enjoy your day or evening. And thank you, JP. I hope you're feeling much better.
Thanks very much. Good night.
Okay, good night.